Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom surrounded by misty hills and shining rivers, there lived a kind and noble king with his beloved queen. Their palace stood high upon a hill, glittering under the golden sun. They had everything: wealth, power, respect, but one thing was missing: a child. Every day the queen walked through the royal garden, whispering prayers to the heavens. "O Lord," she would say softly, "if you bless me with a daughter, I promise to raise her with love, kindness, and wisdom." Years passed, hope began to fade, but one full moon night something magical happened. A glowing light filled the queen's chamber and a gentle voice whispered, "Your wish shall come true." Months later the palace bells rang, and the kingdom celebrated with joy. The queen had given birth to a beautiful baby girl. Her name was Princess Noor. Her eyes sparkled like the morning sun, and her laughter filled every corner of the palace with warmth. The king and queen adored her. As she grew, Noor became known throughout the kingdom for her pure heart and radiant smile. Everyone loved her. But one day something unusual happened. A mysterious old woman appeared at the palace gates. She wore a tattered shawl and carried a wooden stick. Her eyes glowed with strange wisdom. The queen, being kind, invited her inside and asked, "Mother, what brings you here?" The old woman looked straight into the queen's eyes and said, "Your daughter is light itself, but remember, every light has its shadow." The queen frowned. "What do you mean?" The old woman smiled faintly. "When the shadow awakens, the truth will rise," she said softly, and before anyone could stop her, she vanished into thin air. That night the palace grew colder. Strange whispers began echoing in the hallways. Servants claimed they saw flickering lights near the princess's room. Years passed. Noor grew into a graceful young girl. One afternoon, while exploring an unused part of the palace, she found an old wooden chest covered in dust and spiderwebs. It was beautifully carved with golden patterns and a large, rusty lock in the center. Curious, she tried to read the faint letters carved on top. They said, "Never open this chest." Noor's heart raced. What's inside, she wondered. That evening she asked her mother, "Mama, there's an old chest in the west wing. Who does it belong to?" The queen's face turned pale. "Don't ever go near that chest, my dear. It is an old royal relic. Promise me you will stay away." Noor nodded slowly, but her curiosity only grew stronger. That night, as the moonlight shone through her window, Noor couldn't sleep. She felt something calling her, a soft whisper. It said, "Noor, come to me." She got up, tiptoed across the silent corridor and stood before the mysterious chest. The air felt heavy. Her fingers trembled as she touched the golden carvings. The chest vibrated slightly, as if it was alive. Suddenly a faint glow seeped out from its edges. Noor gasped and stepped back. That night she dreamed of another princess, a girl who looked exactly like her, trapped inside the chest, crying, "Help me, set me free." The next morning Noor ran to her mother and said, "Mother, there's someone inside that chest." The queen's eyes widened in fear. "Noor, don't ever say that again. Promise me you'll stay away from it." But Noor couldn't forget the dream. Every night she heard the same voice whispering her name, begging for freedom. The palace began to change. The lights flickered, the wind howled through the halls, and strange things happened near the chest. The king became worried, the queen fell ill, and Noor was left alone with endless questions. Finally, one silent night, Noor stood before the chest once more. She held a small golden key she had secretly found in her mother's jewelry box. Her heart pounded as she whispered, "I need to know the truth." As she turned the key, the lock clicked. The chest shook violently. Candles blew out, the room filled with freezing wind. A beam of blinding light exploded from the chest, and Noor screamed as the light swallowed her whole. Everything went silent. Part 2. The bright light faded slowly, and Princess Noor opened her eyes, but everything around her had changed. She was no longer in her palace room. She was standing in a cold, misty forest under a dark blue sky. The trees were tall and glowing faintly with silver light. A soft voice echoed through the woods, "Noor." She turned around and froze. Standing a few steps away was another girl, wearing the same royal dress, the same face, the same eyes. It was like looking into a mirror. Who are you?" Noor whispered. The girl smiled sadly. "I am you, or rather I was you." Noor stepped closer, her heart racing. "What do you mean?" The other girl's eyes filled with tears. "I am the first princess of this kingdom. I was born long before you, but an evil spell trapped me inside that chest. Your parents never told you. They made a deal with a sorcerer to bring me back, but something went wrong. Noor's hands shook. You're saying you're my sister? The girl nodded. Yes, Noor, I'm Princess Lyra, your twin. When I was born, the kingdom's magician predicted that 2 daughters born under the same moon could not live in the same world. One would have to be sealed away. Tears rolled down Noor's cheeks. That's not fair. Lyra sighed. It wasn't your fault, but I have been trapped in that chest for years, watching you live my life while I remained in darkness. Noor looked around. Where are we now? Lyra whispered. We're inside the world of the chest, a world created from magic and memories. You opened the door that connected us, but now neither of us can leave until the curse is broken. Suddenly thunder roared in the sky. Dark clouds gathered, and a shadowy figure appeared, a tall sorcerer in a black cloak holding a glowing red staff. His eyes burned like fire. So the chest has been opened, he said in a deep voice, and the balance of the curse is broken. Noor shouted, Who are you? He laughed. I am the one who sealed the princess long ago. The curse kept the kingdom safe, one light, one shadow, but now both have awakened and only one can remain. He raised his staff and the ground cracked beneath their feet. The forest turned dark and black vines started wrapping around Noor and Lyra. Noor struggled to breathe. Let her go, she cried. Lyra grabbed Noor's hand. Don't fight him with anger. Magic feeds on emotion. Listen to your heart. Noor closed her eyes and remembered her mother's words. Light always finds its way through darkness. Suddenly a warm golden glow surrounded Noor. The vines burned away. The sorcerer growled, Impossible. The 2 princesses joined hands, their light merging into a brilliant beam that shot toward the sky. The sorcerer screamed and vanished into a burst of shadow. Silence returned. The forest began to sparkle with light again. Noor turned to Lyra. Breathing heavily, is it over? Lyra shook her head. No, Noor, the curse is only half broken. For both of us to live freely, one must return to the chest willingly. Only true love, the kind that sacrifices itself, can end the spell forever. Noor's eyes widened. You mean one of us has to go back inside? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, but I've already spent years in darkness. You should live. Noor held her sister's hands tightly. No, you suffered because of me. I won't let you go back. Lyra smiled gently. You have a pure heart, Noor. That's why the light chose you. But remember, real royalty isn't in crowns or castles, it's in kindness. Before Noor could reply, a strong wind lifted Lyra into the air. The forest shimmered. Goodbye, my sister, she whispered as she began to fade. Noor screamed, Lyra, no, but it was too late. Everything turned white again, and when Noor opened her eyes, she was back in her room, kneeling before the chest. The lid was closed once more. She touched the chest and whispered, I'll never forget you. From inside, a faint whisper replied, and I'll always watch over you. Tears rolled down Noor's cheeks. The chest glowed softly one last time and then went still. The next morning, the queen, now recovered, found Noor sleeping beside the chest. She covered her daughter with a blanket and whispered, My brave child. But deep down, Noor knew something. The chest was not just a prison. It was a bridge between 2 hearts. Part 3. Days passed after that strange night. Princess Noor seemed quiet and distant. She smiled less, spoke softly, and often found herself gazing at the old chest that now sat silently in her room. The queen noticed her daughter's sadness. Noor, my dear, she said one morning, ever since that stormy night you've changed. What troubles you? Noor hesitated, then whispered, Mother, what happened before I was born? Was there ever another princess? The queen froze, her eyes filled with tears. Who told you that? Noor lowered her gaze. I saw her, she looked just like me. The queen sighed deeply and sat beside her. There was another child, she said softly. You had a twin sister, but at your birth a prophecy was made that only one daughter could survive in the world of light. The other would bring shadow. Your father couldn't bear the thought of losing either of you, so he sought help from a powerful sorcerer. But the magic he used demanded a price, one life sealed away to protect the other. Noor's eyes filled with tears. So you knew? The queen nodded, her voice trembling. We believed it was the only way to save the kingdom, but the sorcerer's curse was darker than we imagined. That night, Noor returned to her room and touched the chest again. Lyra, she whispered, I know you're still here. The wind blew softly and the candles flickered. The chest glowed faintly, and a shadow appeared on the wall, the silhouette of her sister. "Nor," came a soft voice. "Lyra," Nor whispered. "Yes," the shadow answered. "I am still bound to this world. My soul cannot rest until the curse is broken completely. But something is coming, the sorcerer's spirit lives on." Nor shivered. "What should I do?" "Go to the old tower," Lyra's voice said faintly. "There you'll find the truth." The next morning, Nor disguised herself in a plain cloak and slipped out of the palace gates. She walked through the fog-covered forest, following the path to the forgotten tower, the same one where the sorcerer once lived. The tower was ancient and cracked, covered in vines and moss. Nor climbed the spiral stairs slowly. The air smelled of dust and forgotten magic. At the top, she found an old book resting on a stone pedestal. The cover was marked with a symbol of a sun and moon entwined together, light and shadow. She opened the book, and a burst of air lifted the pages. Ancient words glowed faintly. "The curse shall end when the two hearts choose unity over fear." Suddenly the room darkened. A chilling laugh echoed around her. "So you found my spell," a voice hissed. The sorcerer's spirit materialized in a swirl of black smoke. His eyes blazed with red fire. "But you cannot undo what has been bound." Nor backed away, clutching the book. "You trapped my sister, you ruined our lives." He smirked. "I only fulfilled your father's wish, one daughter to rule, one to sleep. The balance of light and dark keeps the world from falling apart." Nor's voice trembled but stayed firm. "Then I will change that balance myself." The sorcerer raised his hand and the air crackled with energy. "You are too weak." Nor closed her eyes and whispered, "Lyra, help me." At once a bright light filled the tower. The chest in the palace began to glow, and from it Lyra's spirit emerged, radiant and calm. She appeared beside Nor, her hand glowing with golden fire. The sorcerer snarled, "You can't defeat me." Lyra looked at Nor and said, "Together." Their hands joined, and a wave of light exploded from their palms, striking the sorcerer. He screamed, his shadow twisting and breaking apart. But before vanishing, he shouted, "If the curse is broken, one of you must fade forever." As silence returned, Nor fell to her knees. "Lyra, what does he mean?" Lyra smiled sadly. "It means one of us must become the light, and the other, the guardian of the chest, forever." Nor shook her head. "No, there has to be another way." Lyra touched her face gently. "You gave me freedom once, now let me give you yours." Before Nor could stop her, Lyra began to glow brighter and brighter until her form turned into pure light. The chest in the palace appeared beside them magically, opening on its own. Lyra's light flowed into the chest, sealing it shut with a peaceful glow. Nor cried, "Lyra, please don't go." Her sister's voice echoed softly, "I am not gone, I am part of your heart now." The tower grew silent again. Nor stood alone, the book in her hand, tears streaming down her face, but this time her heart felt stronger. As she walked back to the palace, dawn broke over the horizon. The first rays of sunlight touched the chest in her room, and it shimmered softly, as if smiling back. As Prince Rian stepped into the crystal cave, silence wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. Every wall shimmered with frozen light, time itself had stopped. Birds mid-flight, raindrops suspended in the air, even his own reflection frozen. And then from the heart of the cave, a deep voice echoed, neither kind nor cruel. "Who dares to walk through the corridors of time?" Rian gripped his sword, his heart pounding. "I am Prince Rian," he declared. "I have come to free Princess Amara from her golden prison." The cave began to tremble. A giant figure slowly emerged, half made of shadows, half made of blinding light. Its eyes were endless, showing every memory of Rian's life, his victories, his failures, his fears. "I am the guardian of time," it thundered. "You cannot fight me, for I am you." Rian stared, stunned, his sword slipped from his hand. He saw visions, the times he'd doubted himself, the times he'd failed to protect others. The guardian's shadow grew larger with every fear that surfaced. Rian fell to his knees. "I can't do this," he whispered. The guardian's voice grew darker. "Every doubt feeds me, every fear makes you weak, you will never save her." Then suddenly, a memory, Princess Amara's laughter, echoed in his mind. He remembered her courage, her kindness, the way she always believed in hope. He stood up, eyes glowing with tears and determination. "No," he said firmly, You're wrong, love makes me strong, and I believe in her. Light burst from his chest, pure golden warm. The guardian roared in agony as the darkness shattered like glass. In that light, a single key appeared, floating in front of Rian. It was shaped like a heart and made of pure courage. He held it close and whispered, "Amara, I'm coming." Back in the palace, thunder rolled and winds howled. The golden chest trembled as if sensing Rian's return. He entered the hall exhausted, covered in dust, but his eyes full of hope. Queen Myra and King Arav stood beside the chest, tears in their eyes. Rian placed the key on the lock. The moment it touched the chest, light exploded through the hall, filling every corner with warmth and golden mist. Slowly the lid opened, and there she was, Princess Amara, asleep but breathing softly. The queen gasped, the king whispered her name. Rian leaned closer and said gently, "Wake up, Amara, the darkness is gone." Her eyelids fluttered open, her eyes glowing like morning sunlight. She smiled weakly, "You came for me." Rian smiled back, "I followed my heart, it led me here." The curse broke. The golden chest dissolved into sparkles that floated into the sky like fireflies. The kingdom changed overnight. Flowers that had not bloomed in years opened again, the rivers sparkled, the palace bells rang joyfully. The people cheered, "The princess has returned, the curse is broken." That evening, under the starlit sky, the king crowned Rian not only as a hero, but as the future protector of the kingdom. Amara stood beside him, radiant, free, and full of grace. Amara said softly, "It was never the chest that trapped me, it was fear, and you broke it not with strength but with belief." Rian bowed, "Love is the only magic that never fades." And from that day on they ruled together, wise, kind, and brave. The golden chest was placed in the royal hall, now empty, yet glowing softly, reminding everyone. True courage is not fighting monsters outside, it's conquering the darkness within.